Welcome to Sharing My Truth with Mel and Susie, the uncensored version, where we bear it all.
We do.
And hello, everyone, and welcome back to Sharing My Truth Pod. You're here with Mel and Susie, and we are so excited to be here with you here today. Happy Valentine's Day to those who celebrate.
Absolutely.
Here's a sweet little friendly reminder to subscribe to this podcast wherever you're listening to it. You can check us out on any of our socials at Share My Truth Pod. And you can also go to sharemytruth.com where you can share your truths with us. Send us your nasty little Valentine's Day stories. That's what we want to hear right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, babe.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
Fabulous.
Mel and I, if you're watching this on YouTube, you guys can follow us on YouTube. Subscribe there. We're wearing red and pink.
We are.
We didn't even, we're actually matching black pants, red and pink tops.
We didn't coordinate.
We didn't even coordinate. We were just in the very much a love mood, even though I do not like Valentine's Day at all.
No.
I've always been that kind of person, even when I have someone to celebrate with.
It's annoying, isn't it?
It's the worst holiday.
Because it's just like, well, if you go out to a restaurant, you can't get a reservation.
No, it's
and
the worst.
It's all like really, ugh. And I'm actually going to be on actual Valentine's Day.
Mm.
Do I say that?
Yeah.
With my daughters.
That's very nice.
And my husband. So those are the loves of my life.
That's very sweet, actually.
But I don't, it's not about, it should be about, I think probably the nicest thing is if somebody cooks you a nice meal at home.
Well, yeah, I hate the holidays with expectations.
I hate the fact that it's called a holiday. That fucks me off.
I know. Well, it's obviously not a
Because-
fucking holiday because we don't get a holiday off.
Exactly. And that's a very North American thing.
Right.
You can call it a holiday
Yeah.
if you give me the day off.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's not a holiday.
Yeah.
Because it's illegal.
Stupid Hallmark
It should
holiday.
be illegal.
Yeah.
But no, it's annoying. And there's a lot of pressure and then it makes everyone else feel like shit and that's not cool.
Totally. I
It's just
remember my
pointless.
first, like, when I was, like, in high school or whatever, going out for, like, my first, like, Valentine's Day, like, date or whatever.
Yeah.
We went to, like, Boston Pizza. We had a heart-shaped pizza.
That's hilarious.
I forget the guy's name. I think he was pretty nice, though. He paid for it at
Well,
least.
that's very sweet. I think that's very sweet.
I totally forgot.
I mean, when you're young, you should do that, and that's sweet. I think that's really nice.
Yeah, it
Like
was ridiculous.
you're in your teens, your early 20s, at the beginning of a relationship. I think you should do something, but you don't have to. I think because it's nice, and most women like to be, let's face it, the center of attention.
Yeah.
But it's just the whole commercial stuff.
Yeah.
And then this like pressure to go out to a restaurant. And the thing I don't like is maybe I just want to go for dinner on the 14th, but of course and then you go, oh shit, well I can't.
Exactly.
And that's annoying.
And then everyone thinks you're on a date and it's really gross.
Yeah.
But the one thing I do love is like the lingerie time.
I'm sure you do.
And they'll have all these
Susie.
cute lingeries for sale for
That's true.
Valentine's Day.
And all the jewelry.
And it's just a nice excuse to maybe one up your little lingerie wardrobe
Absolutely.
and get a new pair of shoes and whatever
One
else you
bag,
want.
Throw in a pair of shoes.
Yeah, fuck it.
But buy them yourself.
Yeah, exactly. Because the men that we're about to speak about,
Yeah. Are annoyed by this.
we want to hear, though, if you guys have any kind of Valentine's Day
Yeah.
stories or past stories that you guys
Yeah.
want to tell us about. We would love to hear these weird or funny or nasty Valentine's.
Like horrible things that have happened. That's terrible to say that. But like things that shouldn't happen on
Absolutely.
Valentine's Day that do.
Or things you were hoping would happen
Yeah,
didn't
they
happen the right way
don't.
or
Yeah.
anything like that.
Imagine getting dumped on Valentine's Day.
Well, it happens all the time.
You have to be a giant arsehole to do that. I mean, I say arsehole, female or male.
Absolutely.
I mean, you have to be an arsehole, wouldn't you?
yeah.
I mean, just do it the day after or the day before.
God, love freaks me out. Like, why do I have to do this? Why do I have to put so many expectations on this? I just want to, I want to order a pizza alone with my little dog and just like not talk to anyone for the whole day. That would be a perfect
Yeah.
Valentine's Day for me.
Yeah. I'll be in a pub in the UK.
That sounds really nice. have a point for me,
Yeah.
love.
No.
Okay, well, we're going to talk about today. We found this very interesting article, and it's in the Sunday Times of all places in London. But it's about men and the real stories about these men from all ages, from like 20s to 70s, who have been on the dating apps
Yeah.
and who were telling about their experiences on the dating apps. And I found this and I thought it was really interesting because you don't see a lot of articles about men talking about their experiences about dating, especially on the apps.
100%. And we've talked a lot about dating apps on this show, but we've talked about, obviously, because we're women, the female perspective. And obviously, I'm not on them, but you were, and you're no longer on them.
No.
But we've talked about the female side, and we'd really like to know the male side, but obviously, we don't know because we're not men. But this is an article that has all these men's experiences. Where's my mind? And then we'd like to know what you think.
Yes.
Because, we have our thoughts. Well, I have my thoughts.
Yeah, like
on the whole thing.
So, I mean, I'll just get right into it and to like what some of these guys have to say about just dating in general and being on the app.
Yeah.
So, this one guy, obviously they don't give last names. His name is Tom. He's 29. Okay. And his title is, "She told me women feel pressure to have sex if men pay the bill on the first date. So I decided we should split the bill." And she pulled a face.
Yeah.
So obviously there is an expectation of men paying on the date, whether it's the first, the third. Men are usually the ones to pay, which I very much appreciate. I think most women appreciate, because it takes a lot for us to get ready for the date, to, especially if we are looking to hook up or even not hook up, we still get ready, we put makeup on, we do all the stuff to get ready for the guy we're about to see and possibly the man of our dreams. We don't know, right? So I can understand if she's the one who's saying she kind of set herself up for this in the worst way possible. So it's not her fault that he suggested this, but it is kind of her fault. Like, what do you think?
Okay, so I have lots of thoughts on this.
Yeah.
I think this is where a lot of the confusion comes from dating.
Yeah.
And look, I do think in anything it's men and women. But the problem in this example is that women are talking about equality and being girl bosses and all this kind of shit. Yet this is very traditional. You want the man to pay.
Yeah.
It's very traditional. And you literally, I'm sorry, you can't have your cake and eat it, right? It's like you're one or the other.
Yeah.
So I think that's the problem. I think that sends all these very confusing messages to men. And I think older men are not confused by this because they grew up in an era, where you do pay the bill and you do ask the girl out and all the rest of it. Whereas it's very confusing to young men. And I saw this thing the other day, which I thought was really interesting. And this girl went on a date with this guy and she didn't expect for him to pay.
Yeah.
I honestly think you should be prepared to split the bill.
Oh, 100%. Especially if it goes south.
Yeah.
I will pay the fucking bill.
Right. And if he pays, that's very nice. And she said she was prepared to pay, and then he paid, and she thought that was really nice. And she liked the fact that he was in his provider energy. I thought that was the funniest thing I heard all week. And so I think that's the thing about women that is actually confusing to men, is we want equality and we want this and we want all the other.
Yeah.
And we're perfectly capable of doing everything ourselves, which is absolutely true. Yet we want the provider energy man. And then that's confusing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So I think it should be. I mean, I do think I'm a bit traditional. I think it's nice when the man pays.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's provider energy. And that's the kind of man I would want. And I have is a provider energy man.
Absolutely.
But see, I'm using the terms good.
I love it.
Very modern of me. But I think you should, if this is a young woman, you should go prepared to split the bill. I don't think you should necessarily think, oh, he's a whatever guy. You can make that assessment with whatever happened. And then if he pays, that's really nice. But if you go and then you're like, hang on, and then you pull a face like that, like you said, you're setting yourself up. And it's confusing. It's really confusing.
And then it's also just like, that guy's not going to fuck you at the end of it anyways.
Well, definitely not.
Yeah, no. I, for one, am in that energy now. And this was not where I was maybe when I was like in my early 20s.
Yeah, of course
not. But now that I'm in my late 20s, I'm definitely more of like a girl that's like, I want to feel that this guy not only can, but wants to provide for me. And I know that I can provide for myself. Like, that's not the problem. It's if this guy is willing to even just pay for a simple dinner.
That's nice.
Like, it's not only nice, but it's just like, it just shows a certain amount of like appreciation and like, just gentlemanly.
100%.
Like, there are no gentlemans anymore, right? So like, if we even have the slightest bit of someone being courteous and it's just a nice thing for a guy to do on a
100%.
first date, especially.
100%. But I do have a comment, and we have done episodes about this gentleman issue. But like my husband always says, it's like he always opens the door for anyone, and he would open it obviously for a woman always. And the amount of times he's been like in an office building or not like somewhere, and you're the man who goes, and then you open the door for the woman, and they just go, no, like they give you, and they give you like
Stop.
they criticize you like you don't need to open it, like they're nasty to you. And so it's like, I think that's the other thing is that men are confused. Like, are we supposed to do it? Or are we not supposed to do it? Like, we want to do it, but then we get shit for like.
I open the door for everyone. It doesn't matter what the fuck gender you are.
I completely agree.
Yeah.
But I think there are a lot of people, male and female, who are very confused.
Right.
And I really think at the end of the day, you should do what is right for you and what you feel good. So if you are gentlemanly, provider energy type of guy, I think you should be that guy.
Right.
And if you're a girl who's whatever the female version of that is, do that. And you have to be true to yourself, otherwise you're not going to meet.
For sure.
Whether it's a short term or a long term, you're not going to meet or have the connection or the chemistry with somebody.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are very confused.
Yeah.
Like I know, like my husband always says that. Like I've had so many instances where I've opened the door of a car or a like a building of some door, and they're like give you a like no.
Well, I mean, this is also, and I'm gonna like this is about this as well. Where if I'm gonna go on a date with a guy who I don't really know as much about, like let's say I met him on an app, I will usually try to get him to pick the spot. One, because then he knows how much the bill's going to be, most likely. I'm not taking him to a Michelin star restaurant and expecting it to be like, expecting him to pay.
Yeah.
So I want him to pick the place.
Yeah.
Also, it just shows me what kind of food he likes, what kind of vibe he likes, and like even if I want to go on that date.
Yeah, and how you should dress, like
how you should dress and whatever. So like I want him to choose that. Also, it makes me know, this is just like women overthinking, but I feel like it's true. Like if the guy is not willing to pick out where we're going to go, what we're going to do on that first date, especially.
It's not good.
Then it's like, how are you going to, you can't even make a decision of 100% a date.
Agree.
And then you're not going to pay for it at the end of the night. Like a lot of it's just not like relationship material. So why am I wasting my time on that date in the first place?
100%. I think most women, if we're honest, we love it when the man kind of organizes this stuff.
Organizes, pays.
Exactly.
Takes care.
Exactly. Because it just means it makes you feel good. It makes you feel special. And we can have the whole argument about gender roles and, and whatever. And I'm certainly not Donald Trump on that subject.
Well, gender roles can change, but there's a thing about being generous and like,
I think you kind of have to be true to, I don't think you have to be, you have to be true to who you are. And I think a lot, particularly I see with a lot of young women, are very confused. Just be with what you're comfortable with. Stop worrying about, well, I should do this and, but I do think that is very confusing for men. Because all these women have said, don't open the door, get away from me, you freak kind of thing.
How are these women? I want to have a talk with them. Yeah. Like, I don't know who they are, right? Like, I've never, ever heard, maybe because my age group doesn't.
I remember,
like, I feel like Gen Xers are very like, I'm the woman of the providing. And then millennials are kind of like, well, I kind of like a man to
it's
provide.
Sort of, it's gone backwards. I remember distinctly, not that long ago, I was like walking with my husband and I was kind of, we were like going on a walk in, Toronto in the ravines, it was summer, I guess the summer. And I was kind of behind him and there was a young woman, I'd say she was probably Gen Z, behind him. And he saw she was trying to get by and she, I guess, didn't see me. And he just kind of stepped to the side and said, oh, please go ahead. And she was like, get away from me, you freak.
Ew!
And he just looked at her like,
what?
I mean, the assumption that you think that I'm attracted to you is amazing. What I'm like,
holy shit!
But like, no, I'm just. And then he was just like, okay, whatever. I'm just getting out the way. I'm just saying, oh, please go ahead. And she was offended by that. Yeah, and I think that's the problem. Is
What?
so many men have been in situations,
Yeah.
and women, and you have to ask yourself why we're in this situation. But they've got offended, and you're like, what? So there are
Oh my
women who would be
God.
offended if the man pays the bill.
Yeah.
So you can't win.
Well, and you know what? I will give men this too, and I've had this kind of same mindset sometimes, not all the time, but it's that mindset of like a girl's gotta eat,
Yeah.
and we do just go on dates, not just because maybe we want to like the guy
So
or
we
want to
have
have sex,
dinner.
but just because we want to go for dinner.
Yeah.
We want to go get dressed up. We want to have an experience.
Yeah.
We are not expecting anything of like, oh, we want this to be a relationship. And that's going to bring me into my
You don't have to tell the man that.
right. Well, so this kind of brings me into like this guy this guy's 27. His name is Tim. And then he says, the date went really well. And then I got the same old line. And that line is, I had a great time, but I've realized I'm not in the right place at the moment. Or I'm not like over somebody else.
So why
Yeah.
the fuck are you there?
But this is what I'm saying, because a girl's got to eat.
Can't she just go with a friend? Oh, is it because you want the man to pay?
Because you want the man to pay.
Yeah, but
See,
again,
this is the problem.
sneaky, isn't it?
No, we're fuckers.
Yeah,
we are fuckers.
So, because that's the thing is, and we've talked about this a lot, and women are endlessly complaining about men's behavior.
Exactly.
And I'm not saying men don't behave badly, because they do. But the point is women behave equally as badly.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the thing, that it's shocking to men that those are the rules of dating that have sort of switched up, that women are behaving as badly or worse as men.
Well, women, no, and
or worse than men.
So I had a friend tell me about a dating story that he had, and he said that she was like, she could have been like Victoria's Secret model, like she was gorgeous, and she was about the same age as him, like mid-30s, and they went to brunch together, and she complained the whole time about everything.
About the food?
About everything. So, like, the table that he was sitting at, he got there before she did. Like, she was late for the date, whatever. But she complained about the table he was sitting at, so they had to move tables. And then she got her food. Something was wrong with the food. She had to send it back. And he was, like, trying to make it better. And she was like, I cannot.
Yeah.
Like, if this is the first date,
forget it.
How are you going to be, even if we're, like, a month into this?
Yeah.
Like, the bullshit meter,
right,
yeah,
100%.
is too high
and
to deal with how hot she is even.
Yeah.
Like, that's a problem.
And is that part of it, that she knows she's so hot that she just thinks, well, I can behave like an ass? Well, you can't.
Right.
But I mean, men do that, women do that.
But it's like, that's why you're single in your mid-30s.
100%. 100%. Is, look, if you're going on a date, I'm sorry, but you got to be nice and you got to behave.
Yeah.
And there's, the old adage, you only get one chance to
make a first impression.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. And you are on your best behavior, whether you like it or not. Otherwise, what is the point of going on dates?
And extra nice. Like,
of course. And just
courteous and nice. And like, if you're going to be late, like, I'm usually late for the first date, but like by like 5-7 minutes, because you don't want to be the first one there.
I get that.
And like, you want them to kind of be a little nervous about it. And you want strategic.
No, it's because you want to make an entrance.
And you want to make an entrance. You want to be cute.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it is kind of difficult when women aren't actually prepared to like, we have hopes. We have hope. Maybe this is the guy. Maybe it'll be fun. But maybe it is. This is a possibility. Maybe it's his problem. Maybe they don't want him, right? Like,
yeah,
they're saying, "Oh no, I'm not really into it. I don't want a relationship right now," because they don't want a relationship with him.
Just don't say it.
I know.
Just say this is great.
Oh.
No, maybe say that bit in a text. Just say this is great. Have a nice, I don't know. Don't say it to his face.
Yeah.
It's mean.
And
that's just a fucking lie, isn't it?
Well, it's possible that it's a lie. I think most people know that if you're blaming it on your ex, or you're blaming that, exactly, you're blaming that it's you're not into a relationship right now.
Text him, say something's come up at work, I'm going away for 2 weeks. I don't care. Just be nice.
Yeah.
That's when white lies are very helpful.
So this guy is kind of saying what we've been saying for this whole time, where it's like, he says, I know some men tend to overplay the difficulties of being a man on the modern dating scene, but the real problem is that dating rules aren't so clear anymore. and men are genuinely confused. It's not even clear when a date is a date. A woman recently said to me as we sat down to a candlelit dinner, just to be clear, this is not a date.
I know. So what are you doing there?
So what are you doing there? And then he said, that's strange. I thought I'd ask her on a date and we were both dressed for a date. And at the end of the meal, it was clear that she expected me to pick up the bill.
Yeah.
And he says, I've met other women like this. I call them date deniers. They tell themselves they're not out on a date. They're just having a drink or a bite to eat. But I always feel that what they're really saying is, under no circumstances will I have sex with you or fall in love with you. And it's like, then what the fuck are you doing? Like, it's like this isn't a friend meetup.
I know.
That's what's annoying about this.
What are you doing then? You're just like chatting?
And like, obviously, like, no, like, people aren't expecting someone to have sex on the first date, most likely, right?
That's a separate issue.
Right. It's like, but there is an expectation that this is a date. That
Obviously.
is the basic
What's the
expectation
point, otherwise?
that this is like hey, like, let's get to know each other. Maybe we can pull something nice out of this and have sex at a later date or something like that.
Yeah.
Or make this a relationship.
I mean, who knows? Just chill out. I think the problem is that it sounds like most of these, are all dating app things.
Yeah.
And the part of the problem with that is the whole reason for meeting is so unnatural.
Totally.
So you've chosen somebody mostly on their appearance. Really, you don't know their personality. So you're nervous. The whole thing is weird. The whole, and I just think it creates a very unnatural environment. Whereas, obviously, I'm going to say in the old days, you met people at parties, at stuff like that. And then you went on a date. So you'd had a little chat, a little
you met them in person, you know that they're normal or they're okay.
You'd had a little connection. Or you went on blind dates because your friends set you up. And sometimes that's how I met my husband, on a blind date.
Sweet.
And so, but your friends set you up. So you're hoping, okay, this isn't going to be that often. And then you can talk about that. Like, I think because it's so unnatural.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing about the apps, and we've talked about this a lot, and it's, I think, one of the reasons you've come off them, is it's just so like manufactured and so like, oh, okay, we're doing this again.
Yeah.
And so people just get into this like very kind of robotic kind of
weird
it's very
thing. Weird. And like, it's very interesting. That's why it's interesting to hear these men's perspective, because I was just telling you, like, obviously I'm off the apps right now. I had like a month break out of Toronto, so I was like out of here, so I didn't have to worry about anything like that. But it was just like, I'm off the apps and it's addictive to be on them, right? Because you're constantly getting like reaffirmed, attention, like blah 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 blah. So I'm getting kind of like withdrawals of like my ego. Just like,
nobody's telling you
no
you're
one's
hot.
exactly. And I'm like, why do I even
Please
need
tell
that?
her she's hot. Yeah.
Why do I need that though?
Yeah.
Why do I need all this external attention from people I don't even know, that don't even matter? And then it overwhelms me in a way that I'm like, I don't even want to talk to any of these guys, and so I just get off the apps. So it's this weird cycle that I feel a lot of women are also dealing with.
Yeah, I mean,
and
I think
men are getting frustrated.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's the society we live in because of social media. Like, you spend so much time looking at so much visual stuff most of the time, which is total inane crap, that we're all kind of, our brains are like an algorithm. And so that's part of the problem, And then it's this thing of like, people on the apps are either very posed or they take these kind of goofy pictures and then you meet them and it's not the same. And, that's I mean, I don't know. It's not going in a good place. But I mean, the one thing is, it does seem that men and women, the one thing I can say, equally have problems with it. So they have different opinions, and I would like to say, why do women say these things like dating? I think it's because, like men, they're scared. They're scared of meeting a stranger. They're scared of, oh my God, am I never going to meet anyone? They're scared that something could happen. There's so many weird feelings, I think, because it's so unnatural, that you say stupid things. You say things, because you don't know what to say, kind of thing,
Well, I mean, there's a few other ones of these, but so there's this one guy, and he's in his 40s, and he's dating younger women. And
Of
women in their
course.
20s, right? So not like
Obviously.
super young, but like women in their 20s.
Much younger than him.
And this guy had a similar experience to my friend who I was just talking about, who she had problems with the, server. And so he's saying he did not like that she was rude to the waiter and that like she had just so many complaints and she was on her phone. People, if you are on your phone on a date, and you are just looking at your phone, and you're not like looking something up or like, do you know what I mean? You don't need to be on your phone at that time. Like, get the fuck off your phone.
Well, it's generational thing, and I'd like to say to this man, you should be dating women closer to your age. That's really the problem. And the other thing I think is, I think I told you the story, and I repeated it in a previous pod.
Yeah.
A friend of mine, who's like sort of in his 50s, recently divorced, and just wanted to, quite reasonably kind of had a period of time, wanted to start, getting out there and meeting women, and everyone has the same problem. How do I do that? And I think his actual age thing was kind of, men is always a bit younger, but maybe 10 years younger, not like 20. Like he was in the 50s, maybe in your 40s or 30s or whatever. And he met this woman, and they're just having a nice time, having a chat. And then she asked him, do you want children? And he's like, no, I've got 2 grown children. And she just completely went off on him like a psychopath and just completely lost it. Sorry. And you're like, ladies, if you meet a man, I mean, you'd think this would be on the frigging profile, but if that's what you want and that's not what he wants, this is my advice. Have a nice dinner, enjoy this nice person's company.
Totally.
And then that's it. Do you have to be an arsehole? Do you have to scream at him?
Also, was this the first date?
It's the first date.
Oh my God.
Chill. Like I said, I know I said this a lot, but just relax. Like if you're not going in the same way, I mean, one date's a bit, I would also say to you, if you want children, why in God's name are you dating men in their 50s?
Right.
That's just stupid, isn't it? So
that's just stupid, girls. Girls,
it is.
No, it is. It is. I know.
It's just the number one thing you want. What are you doing?
I know it's so hard. And Mel and I were just talking about this before we started. It's just like because I enjoy older men's company more, and I find it very hard to find guys interesting my own age or even like just a little bit. Yeah, I'm older than me. Like it's just. They're still trying to figure it out, which is totally fair. But I'm at a point where I'm just like, I want someone who knows more of who they are.
Their provider energy.
And their provider energy. And mostly those men are late 40s, 50s. And I just like the energy they have.
Yeah.
But I also know that I want to get married someday. And I don't know if I want kids, but the kids, it's nice to have the option.
You want the possibility.
I don't want to cut off that option yet.
Yeah.
But it's, man, girls, it's tough out there. I get it.
But I actually think it's one of the things, and I've never said this to you before, but I think one of the reasons you enjoy older people's company is part of what older people like geriatrics like myself is that it's part of what I was saying, like we're clearer because we grew up in a different world that in some ways there were way less rules. It was way less like nobody got offended by anything. I mean, it was pretty outrageous, right? And I'm not saying that's a good thing, but it was a different world. And so maybe we're clearer. We don't get upset about stuff and it's just easier.
Yeah, no,
and
that's
I think
so true.
maybe that's something you enjoy. And to me, that makes a lot of sense. You're not, if you're in your 40s and 50s, you are generally, and the kind of people you're secure in your life, you know who you are, you're not messing about.
Yeah.
You don't take any bullshit, but you're also not offended or upset or every 5 seconds is not some drama. I think that is, I'm not trying to shit on younger people, but it is a thing of this endless drama.
So endless.
I don't have any more energy for it. Just okay, move on.
Yeah.
And I do think that's probably something, knowing you, that makes a lot of sense to me. Is it's just the ease at which you can have
it's a very good
relationship.
observation because I do find that like there are so many things that people get worked up about at my age that I'm also, I think we're all just starting to figure out how far can we go with a lot of this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And how angry can we be with
Mhm.
a lot of the stuff that we can control? And like how much more energy do we need to put into this before we realize that like this is not making us happy and like
Yeah.
things like that. And I do find that there's a lot of people, and I think it's more women are very much strong in their beliefs,
Mhm.
which they should be,
Mhm.
but also there is very little give and take with that.
Yeah. 100%.
And sometimes this is for men too,
Mm.
but I find that there is a little more leniency
Mhm.
when it comes to men's
Yeah.
personalities. Maybe they just want to sleep with you and they'll say whatever they want as well.
That's part of it.
But
Fair
yeah,
enough,
there
you
is,
know.
but it is nice to have someone of an age where they don't get offended, or they kind of are used to just like rolling shit off their shoulder. Like
Yeah. That's
it's
exactly it.
yeah,
Rolls off, and you can just have a fun conversation and not be hyper aware
totally.
of every single thing that
Oh
you've
my
said,
God, absolutely.
and just have a fun time. And I think it's this intensity
Mhm.
that is around the generations, which, you know, I've said it before in other pods that I think we've done it, Gen Xers have done it to our children. You know, I mean, you know, Jesus, just my parents didn't know where I was half the time. I mean, that was pretty common, you know, so you were more like, you have to just get on with it, you know. And so I think I do understand that. That makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're a hot 50-year-old guy, you can slide into my DMs.
Well,
and
we'd
we'll
like
see
a
what
little
you
bit younger for you. I'd like Susie to be dating somebody. Listen, I'm putting my input. Maybe 10 years older.
I know. I need a matchmaker to be
Yeah,
honest.
10 years older. Nice person.
Yeah,
Provider energy, definite more.
definite.
And either has had a long-term relationship or has been married but no children.
Yeah, I mean, I just don't think I'm stepmommy material.
It just complicates things, but no children.
Yeah, it would be better.
Yeah.
Would be nicer.
Yeah.
They can have a dog though.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind
That's
that.
fine. Yeah.
So there's this guy who's 48.
Mm.
Okay. He says, I've heard that when it comes to online dating, 80% of women are attracted to the top 20% of men. And I
Mhm.
think you brought up
Yeah,
that
yeah,
point
yeah.
before. And so he's kind of saying this is going to make it sound arrogant, but he's, over 6 foot. He's photogenic. He has a big smile, blah, 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 blah. So he's pretty cute. He's in the top 20 per se. And he feels very good about that. I think what he's saying, though, is that like he has the means to take women out,
Mhm.
to have experiences. Obviously, like he doesn't like when women have expectations about the date, which I feel like
Yeah.
is a pattern with a lot of these
Yeah.
guys actually.
Yeah.
But something he said really was interesting to me. He says, once I'm ready to go back on the apps, I have a lifetime membership to Bumble Premium and pay for Tinder and Hinge. I have a thing about people just using the apps free. To me, that's a sign to yourself and the universe of how much you value your next relationship, and I want mine to be right. And I'm like, I am never paying for an app.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a little.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
I
I'm
do.
like, I
I do.
understand where this guy is coming from because obviously has a lot of experience. He's 48, he's hoping for something serious. But like, I'm not going to judge someone on whether they're paying for the app.
Yeah, that's
For me,
ridiculous.
that's kind of bad that the guy is paying for the app because I'm like, well, maybe not. But there's like, it's like he wants to date a lot. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what it shows to me. Maybe that's not the right observation for me to take from that. But I'm like, if you have, or if you're paying for this app, that means you want to go on a lot of dates and you want to like really like you want to use your money's worth.
What does paying do?
It's different on every app.
Right.
And I've never paid for an app, so I don't really know. But you get to talk to more people. You get more matches.
It doesn't cut you off
It doesn't cut you off in the things. Like I think it's.
How many people are they talking to?
Well, exactly, right? So it's like it is better to pay on the apps because you get so much more out of the apps. But still, it's just like, oh my God, how much more time and energy can you put into this that you're not putting into something else? Do you know what I mean?
Agreed.
So I understand where he's coming from as a 48-year-old who wants to be more serious. But at the same time, I'm like, I'm never paying for the app.
Yeah, I agree. I mean,
for women, it comes off a little desperate. And I'm not saying you are desperate if you're paying for the apps, but that's kind of what it comes off for me.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I honestly think you should probably pay for something else, put your money into something else.
Right, exactly.
For a way to meet women. I know that that's tricky, but I don't know, do something else. What could you do? Take
like
up
pay for some kind of a class, a hobby,
take up
anything.
dancing,
Yeah, it would be nice.
take up wine tasting,
pottery
cooking,
classes,
something that women, or buy a dog.
or volunteer.
And maybe they'll like you with a cute dog.
Volunteer at
that's
somewhere.
what a good idea, Susie.
You.
Volunteer. Yes.
Yeah.
Show your good natured side. Do something.
Yes.
Meet people in real life. Not in the workplace, because I know that's got all sorts of problems. And I know that's messed up because pretty much everyone I know of my
Right.
age, in their sort of late 40s to early 50s or even beyond, they met their partner at work.
Right.
I didn't, but I met kind of through work. So I met my friend because we worked at a place, and then she worked with my husband, and then she thought, oh, you'd be a good fit. So it was kind of through work, because that's where you spend your time when you're young, right?
Yeah.
And even now, right? But and I know that's riddled with legal problems.
No, that's okay. Kanye West met his wife through work, so that's what they're
and
saying.
look what happened there.
And we're gonna take a quick, teeny tiny little break for our sponsor. I'll be back soon. Sharing My Truth Pod is so excited to partner with Vibrator.com, where the A in vibrator is the number 8. This is an extremely exclusive code where no other podcast has it. If you go to Vibrator.com right now, use the code MS15, that's MS15 at Vibrator.com. You can now get 15% off anything in store. That's any sex toys for you, your partner, your neighbor, your mom. We don't judge. We don't care. Get it now. Go to the link in our bio, put in the code, and get jiggy with it. And we're back. Took a long deep breath there. So we'll talk about, hold on. Okay, let's talk about one more I think I want to chat about with you. Or maybe two more if we have the time. But so there's this other guy, and he's in his 30s, okay? So he's trying to get serious. He loves food. He says he's a big whiny? He loves wine.
A wine guy.
Foodie.
I don't know, yeah.
But so he was going on this date with this girl, and she brought her friend without
weird.
saying anything.
That's just weird.
And then he ghosted her. Or sorry, she ghosted him.
That's weird.
She ghosted him after the date.
Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're like expecting this to be a threesome, do not bring your
And
girlfriend.
There are apps for that.
Yeah. Do not bring your girlfriend to the first date.
What is wrong with you? How old are you?
If I was
That's weird.
If I was literally going on a date with a guy and he had brought his friend,
I'd get up and walk
I'd
out.
get the fuck.
Well, not that I'm going on dates, but I'd get up and walk out.
I don't know what I would
what's wrong with you?
It would be so weird.
It's offensive. That is offensive.
It would be so weird. Like, unless he was like, oh, sorry, this is just my friend. I saw him in the doorway. He's waiting for someone. It would just be like the weirdest thing.
No, it's clearly she brought her friend
to fucking eat good food and drink
and
good
then
wine.
Piss off and go clubbing.
Exactly.
So like she was like, oh God, I've got on this date. Fine, let's do this, blah, blah, blah. And then we're skedaddling. And you're like, that's just rude, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's not good.
And then you just give everyone a bad rep, don't you?
No, you
and
do.
I just, I think that's just part of the problem. It's like everyone's just got all these bad experiences. Does anybody have a good experience on a dating app? Well, somebody must, I suppose.
Well, no, so my brother is getting married.
Oh, well, there you go.
From meeting his
And where did they meet?
fiance on Tinder, of all places.
Wow.
So it's
how long have they
awful.
been? How long have they been together?
And my 1 second, my cousin also met her husband on Hinge. And my brother met his fiance in 2020 or 2020.
So maybe the apps are in a different space.
Well, so everyone was on the apps in 2020, right? Because we were all
Right.
just like desperate for attention.
But it was more. It wasn't new because I mean I know people who met on JDate and all sorts of
For
stuff
sure.
back in 10 years before that. But I think it wasn't so talked about and everyone wasn't so fatigued by the whole thing.
Yes,
So it was
exactly.
slightly different. Everyone was just like, oh God.
Yeah.
And there weren't these stories of people going on apps, coming off them, deleting them. I think it was less, fatiguing.
So I
That's a
definitely
word.
know couples
Yeah,
and family members who have.
I do from way back, from the beginnings of it. I don't know recently that I do, but that's weird. I mean, like,
So there are good stories out there.
the thing I don't understand is like, my daughters are 20s, late teens kind of thing, and they meet people in real life.
Yeah.
So why have they figured it out?
I don't know. I'm determined. Like, this is why I'm off the apps. I'm determined to meet someone, and I'm not like, ready for a relationship right now.
Yeah.
But like closer to maybe the summer or like in the fall or something, I'm determined to meet someone in real life or like get set up by one of a friend or like.
Okay, yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
It's the
Like,
best way.
I'm not meeting I'm not putting the energy out there that I have to be on the apps to meet someone that I like. Like, that's not happening for me.
I know. It's like the weirdest thing. It's like people use these apps because they're weird going into the world and meeting like a psychopath.
Yeah.
But then the apps seem to be filled with sociopaths and psychopaths and weirdos.
So the guys I've met on the apps are not bad guys. They're just not right.
They're
And
not right.
maybe I just wasn't on enough dates.
Yeah.
And this brings me to my next guy.
Yeah.
Who I want to just chat about really quick.
Yeah.
Is he says, this guy's 31. He says, I swiped right on hundreds of women and heard nothing. And I'm like, maybe it's a you problem. But
That's bad.
so he says men get a bad rap on dating apps, and probably rightly so. But that doesn't mean women are perfect. The numbers are in their favor. Remember, there are far more men on the apps, so the women are the ones who with all the power.
Is that true?
Obvious.
Are there more
for sure.
More men than
more
women?
men, for sure. Because women like me are fucking sick of it.
Yeah.
And men, it's so easy for a man to be on the app and like just anyone who.
But that's men in general.
Will give them attention. They love it, right?
But
so
you
it's
could
like,
be. I mean, you really have to be.
Yeah.
A hideous, total
Yeah.
loser, drop out in life to not find a girlfriend. Like everyone,
Yeah.
men in jail find women to marry.
I know, it's crazy.
You know, I mean,
know.
Women will always go for a man. I
know.
I don't
But so this is the thing what men do, and I know men do this because I've seen it happen, right? Is men will just swipe right on everyone. So they don't look at profiles. They're just like bam, 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 bam.
Quantity over quality.
Exactly.
And they think, well, if I do it enough,
as long as one comes back,
I'll be okay.
Right?
Wow.
So, I mean, he says that maybe it's because he didn't pay for the premium service on whatever the app he was. But yeah, he says he swiped right on hundreds and he saw nothing. But it's also like, maybe you just weren't putting the right energy out into the app. Maybe your profile wasn't great. Maybe you didn't have the right pictures. There's so many things a man can do that they don't understand to make women want, because women study a man's profile.
But that's women.
But this is what I'm saying. It's like men don't understand that women study the profile because men don't. Men just bop, 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 bop.
But when you swipe, does it just go ding ding and you're mad? What happens?
It depends on the app.
Okay.
But it's like if I when I was on the apps, if I got, if I was swiping, literally, if a guy had the wrong prompt or like had the wrong answer, I'm like, this guy's a fucking loser. Right. He might be a super nice guy.
And just wrote
shit up there. And I'm just like, Ben, if you are listening and you are on the apps and you are struggling, just review your profile.
I have an idea. Get a woman friend.
Yes.
To write it.
Yes.
Because
if
actually,
you can.
This happened to somebody I know that he got a woman to write it and he's married. His friend wrote it and then he met somebody and they're married.
Right.
Get a woman to write it.
Seriously. It actually makes a huge difference because women are we study the shit because also we are so careful about the men we go on dates with because we don't want to be murdered.
Yeah. It's key. Yeah.
And so if it's like, if you're saying like a stupid fucking joke on your profile, you think it's funny. And most women don't think this, we just take things more seriously in general.
Yeah.
Just be a little more cautious because you're trying to get first dates, right? Like 100%. You are trying to get first dates. These are first impressions. This 100%. Is your first impression.
And this is the whole problem with the apps.
Yeah.
Men are simple. I think most men would say they're very simple. They just want sex, food, probably some beer, pizza, football. I mean, that's pretty much it.
Totally.
I mean, most men are pretty simple.
Oh my God, they are.
Whereas women, many layers around that onion.
Too many. Sometimes.
And then it goes into the analyzing and men just don't do that.
Yeah.
They don't manically analyze all this stuff. They're just like, okay, right, fine, kind of thing, And that's the problem with the apps is it's not. I'm surprised that somebody has not figured this out.
I feel like they have been, or just sorry guys, maybe you're a little lazy and you just throw together something
Yeah, but that's men, isn't it?
Right.
And that's fair. Like, men don't have to, like, you think about the date itself. Let's say you're a very attractive man.
Mm-hmm.
All you have to do is get in the shower,
Mm-hmm.
put some deodorant on, that'd be nice aftershave, put a decent shirt on, doesn't even have to be expensive, nice pair of, trousers, pants, whatever you want to call them, nice pair of shoes, smell nice, don't have to worry about jewelry, turn up, that's it. I mean, that's it. That's 20 minutes max. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Woman, Jesus Christ, what does she have to do? She has to have wax,
It's at least an hour.
nails done.
Oh, yeah.
All that has to happen before.
Oh, yeah.
Eyebrows, hair.
Oh, yeah.
Yada, yada, yada. All the upkeep. And then getting ready. Your hair, your makeup. Then the agony over the outfit. Is this too much?
Even just coming to see you, Mel.
Well, there you go.
Well, this is the thing,
it's
right?
Just me.
The amount. I mean, it's just you, of
It's
course.
just little old me.
No, the amount of energy and time women put in.
Yeah.
To
I go see my friends, and
Absolutely,
I'm having lunch. I don't just turn up like a bag of whatever
dirt.
Yeah, I've done my hair. I put makeup on, and it's just for me.
Right.
And I know all women aren't like that, and that's fair enough. And I'm just
because some women are naturally gorgeous, and we're just these trolls until.
No, but I mean the point is, most women have to do something to be like really attract. Men don't really understand that. Men don't have to do anything.
Yep.
So that if you think about just the preparation for the date, what the woman has to go through and what the man has to go through, and then you back that into like the profiles, and it tells you everything, doesn't it?
It really does.
And men are just like, yeah, whack, get that up. That'll be fine. That'll be fine. That'll do. Blah, blah, blah.
You guys, if you want to send us your dating profiles,
yes,
we will edit them for you.
Well, Susie will, because you're very good at this.
Yeah, I actually will. I've done this for multiple of my guy friends.
Yeah.
I will.
And have they got good dates out of it?
You know what? That's a good question. I haven't followed up in that way.
Need to follow up.
But these guys are my guy friends are cute, and the way that they advertise themselves
is not good.
Yeah. So, and women, our standards are not that high.
No, you don't have to be a bolty billionaire.
We are so happy to date a kind of goofy, weird, clean guy.
Nice guy, kind guy.
Yeah.
A guy who and you don't have to be the president of whatever. Just you've got a job, that's helpful.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you can pay for dinner, that's helpful.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be in a, Michelin star restaurant. Just be a nice place. And that's the thing. And I think we've solved it.
Mm-hmm.
We've solved
it. As we do every episode.
Solved it. So that's it. That's the solution.
Okay, guys, send us your dating profile. Send us your nasty little February 14th stories.
Oh, yeah.
Valentine's Day. We'd love to hear from you. And we can't wait to chat with you next week.
I know.
We love you. Bye.
Till next time. Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review this podcast and follow us on social at Sharing My Truth Pod, and leave us a voicemail on our website, sharingmytruth.com, to share your stories and experiences with us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.